the Egyptian exploration for the mineral resources and petroleum, especially in 2019, has witnessed an increase of the explorations and has been continued throughout the past few months. Is also gaining the harvest has been also crowned by the gas and petroleum achievements and what it provides in terms of the meeting the needs of the Egyptian people, and also in terms of the exporting to the abroad countries. What we talk about today, the slogan, why we mainly talk about the Mediterranean and the North Africa, and that's because the Mediterranean Sea is the link between the three different continents of the world, and it's full of the natural resources and also the mineral resources. So Egypt has got lots of significant steps in terms of marking the sea borders that was emerging from the promising vision of His Excellency President El-Sisi, along with Cyprus and Greece. And in this, we are here bringing the harvest of 2.7 billion kilometers was the beginning of the field at the beginning of 2019, and by the end of 2019 of the same year, it has become to 3 million cubic meters. Also, another promising field in the north of the Mira, we have on behalf of our DMG company, I would like to for this Egyptian International Conference under the slogan of meeting the needs of the power of the people. Throughout the past few years, this exhibition and conference has been main platform for the energy for Middle East and Mediterranean, and we have the honor of his attendance, His Excellency President El-Sisi, to attend such a great event that will last for 3 days to prove its significance not just for the petroleum sector in the region but also for Egypt in general. Our ability to organize such exhibition in great extent comes to the strategic and active for His Excellency the Minister of the Petroleum and the Mineral Resources for the great efforts. So I would like to thank you personally for your leadership and your engagement throughout the past few years. When we started for the planning of the 4th edition of this exhibition, so we succeeded in having executive and technical committee for the experts in that field who have been working with no relaxation to get this organized in such way, and this conference wouldn't have been conducted without your support and your encouragement to guarantee that the energy sector in Egypt can usually have its sustainable objective throughout the vision and the supply chain in the future. As 22 becomes a pivotal year in our region, and in meeting the gas needs, as it's one of the main points in our projects, and we have increase in the demands of people to confront the increase of the needs of having the clear energy for everyone, to be available to everyone. And we need to have a new generations of exploitation of the new added value supply chain, and to have industries in terms of the variable generations. We need to work on the innovative and exploration agenda, and also to tackle the calibers to make sure that we will have a new projects, especially in the North Africa and Mediterranean, especially in 22 has got great impact in terms of the world energy sector, and in that regards, it's a great opportunity. And also we will have challenges, and we will have a group of the world challenges. such a great conference have 1,600 participants, and also one of the points that we will tackle is also women and investment issues. So we gather today to celebrate or to honor the distinguished personnel in that regards. So I hope that you will have time to visit the exhibition, so you can see more than 4,500 exhibitors from 28 countries have their exhibiting for their skills and their output, and we expect that we will have 5,000 visitors in this week to our exhibition. Your Excellency, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you in this great conference, and thank you all. I thank Chris Harton, the president of GMD Oil and Gas Company. Undoubtedly, Egypt talks in terms of figures and digits. However, there are some other points that we need to tackle differently. Egypt opens itself to its devoted sons to provide all it has in terms of resources, whether in lands or in seas, not just in the petroleum field, but also in the mineral resources. And also we will have another discussion later. So now I call His Excellency Minister Tariq Mullah, the Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources. Please, the floor is yours. In the name of Allah, the Almighty, Your Excellency President Fattah El-Sisi, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished guests, I am honored to talk to you today in this significant and great and distinguished conference in Cairo, this great capital that witnessing the great civilization of Egypt that has made lots of enrichment to the whole world through the decades. Today we gather for the fourth time to integrate the Egyptian International Show 2020 for petroleum sector, this great platform that has become one of the strategic executing platforms for the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources to what it provides to the whole world to participate their success stories and also the strategies and the policies and the reforms and the development that we have currently. And it's a great word, and it's a great world window to have all of the opportunities exchanging and to increase the cooperation with the world experts and companies in terms of the petroleum for having the mutual concern. So allow me to thank you all, especially His Excellency President Fattah El-Sisi, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, for his great attendance and his auspicious for this great conference that has contributed in supporting the steps of the conference throughout the 4 years. And also his continuous support for the petroleum sector, which contributed directly in having tangible achievements locally, regionally, and internationally. And I also thank all of the organizers of this event for what they have exerted to have such a great successful event. Dear attendees, Egypt has succeeded throughout the past few years to overlap all of the great challenges that we have faced and also achieved in saving all and preserving all of the assets and having the social security and safety in all of the state with the great will of the people. Also executing the great project for the social reform that have got great impact on increasing the productivity and also decreasing the rates of the for the employment and the also population, and made Egypt as one of the great model in terms of having development and secure and safety states. Also, we've got lots of conflicts and challenges throughout the 2011 due to the hardships that we got in terms of the unstable political and economic state, and these have got the accumulated due rights for the foreigner investors, and we've got suspension for some of the companies, and also impacted on the supply chain of the petroleum and power. And recently we have got one of the great conflicts and one of the great plan in terms of having success and achievable impacts that being tackled by the people of Egypt, and we have got our commitment in our sector to be one of the locomotives of development. And allow me to have one of the success stories that helped in having the great development and meeting the needs of people. Petroleum sector has contributed in 2018-2019 with 27 of the GDP for the state, with 1.4 trillion Egyptian pounds. Also, for the first time in its kind, recently we have got also in 2019 and 2018 increase, and we have also the rate for the foreign investments for great projects that been already under execution. We have around $35 million being already received for the execution of the projects, and also decrease of the accumulated loan of the foreign investors, and this has also reflected directly in terms of having new investors to the state and the projects. Also, the sector has succeeded in changing the rate of the development from negative 11% to positive 12%. So this has helped to have the startup of the export one more time. Also, the production of the raw petroleum, gas and oil to be 1,009,000 in August 2019. And we have got a decrease in the expenses for the one cube of oil, which is around 1.5 in compared to 2015-2016. And also we've got a record in terms of the national projects to have the gas to all of the residents, which is more than 1,250,000 residences in terms of the strategy of the state to have the equity and equality, and to have well consumption and support. Also, we have got increase for all of the equipments and the building capacity for receiving and storing the petroleum and the gas materials, and to develop the petrochemical materials of the value added to meet the changeable and the variable change in the world markets. Also, the file of changing Egypt to be a center of a container for the whole world for exchanging petroleum and gas, starting from developing the main structure and the infrastructure with our foreign and international and regional partners. One of the most important steps was to have exportation to Jordan, and also for the Egyptian companies in Egypt to receive the material one time. Also, we've got signed on charter for the gas East Mediterranean as an international organization within just 12 months since Egypt just started or initiated this plan throughout the dialogue and throughout the context, regional context, to have the great exploitation of gas in the region in a way that help in confronting all of the political challenges and with having good impact of the people of the whole region. And in terms of the great effort that we exert in terms of the building capacity for youth, to have cooperation with the international companies, and the first batch for executing the intensive course for all of the international companies inside and outside Egypt, in addition to giving trainings and courses for different skills for a period around 6 months throughout to 1 year to have the leadership in that sector. And in that light, I would like to announce for the integration to submit the second batch in coming March. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished guests, maybe we can have successful stories in few minutes. However, these success have great and lots of efforts that maybe we would need to have days to talk about. But let me just highlight some of the important elements. Firstly, the fully aware, promising strategy that believe in the will and the capabilities that had helped to have Egypt in terms of such very challengeable era to have great transformation into construction and progress. Secondly, the stability. So this has helped the state to support all of its bodies and organizations as being the exact or the strong arm to help in terms of pushing the sustainable development and executing its goals. Thirdly, to work through scientific approach, crystal clear plans and strategies. So throughout the 4 years, the petroleum sector has worked with roadmap and a clear vision with economic principle, working on the practical side on attracting more of investments to help us to have continuous progress and to help strongly in pushing the development and the progress. Also to work and have dialogue with partners to talk about the traditional approaches and to have bold approaches to meet the concerns and the interest of both parties, and also to work towards the increase of the productivity. And I would like to take this chance to thank our partners for their great support for the confronting the challenges that we have faced and their concern to have great impacts in Egypt. And last but not least, the great and exerted efforts that has got by all of the participants, as we usually in Egypt throughout the whole decade, we have provided all the best role model for what we have in the challengeable eras. Dear guests, the petroleum sector will still have lots of opportunities in different fields, starting from the exploration and research, whether in the eastern desert or the new areas like the west of the Mediterranean Sea, and we have also new processes in terms of the distribution and exploration and the mining projects and fields. And this proves that we are on the right track to achieve the great goals. And we have the great sponsorship of His Excellency President Fattah el-Sisi with his vision, and with also providing some of the supports, one of which was the structure reform for the petroleum sector that been approved by the cabinet last week, that has a new distribution for the roles and to conduct the best practices of the arbitrary and to have a new structure for the sector to exploit and to manage the resources ultimately, and also we have a great calibers and personnel that we have now building their capacities for building the future. And at the end, I would just need to really welcome you one more time and to emphasize that your dialogue and your participation throughout the sessions will be fruitful and will be significant and will help in achieving the sustainable development goals, which is the objective of the whole world people. And last, I again express my gratitude and sincere thanks to His Excellency President Fattah el-Sisi for his distinguished and exceptional role in the petroleum sector and his great concern to participate with us in all of the activities related to our sector. Thank you so much, and peace be upon all of you. Thank you so much for your Excellency, Mr. Tariq Mullah. Actually, today and last night, the dialogue for most of the people that we have today was about whether the weather will be cold or whether it's going to be extremely cold. as the fifth settlement is called or not. So at the moment that we are thinking about the weather, we have got Egyptian youth in the heart of the red. They are working on the locomotives, working on the mining, and also others in the desert where the weather is even way less than the fifth settlement, and they have no choice to talk about wearing maybe ice caps or scarf. One of them called me last week and asked me that in the conference, will you meet His Excellency the President? So I said, yes, I believe so. So he said that, please, if you will do so, just tell him that we are all beyond his back. Your Excellency, Your Highness, the great attendees and distinguished guests, hopefully this conference will be successful and all of the sessions will be meeting its goals, and I call Your Excellency to integrate the conference and to check the showrooms. Thank you so much.